as this time of the awakening of humanity goes deeper and faster, some things come to the fore which had not been noticed previously. And one of the things which I've noticed recently very, very strongly by literally everybody that I've observed, there is a sort of built-in impulse to delay. That is, I want to do something, but something in me makes me do something else instead, so that what I actually wanted to do doesn't get done. And as I started thinking about this and looking at this, I could see that it's an impulse which is inherited, perhaps is the right word, but maybe it isn't. It's not quite clear at the moment. Interestingly, the British author Colin Wilson, who's written a lot of books in the area of, well, the so-called occult, and occult just means hidden or hidden knowledge. And some of these books he's written as textbooks, the facts, the naked facts as it were. And some he's written as a novel, where possibly the themes that he wanted to address, because he's had access to a lot of secret knowledge, are so way out in left field that to write this as a textbook wouldn't be accepted, but to write this as a novel, well, it seems to work. And one of these novels was called The Mind Parasites. Now, in the novel, I remember reading this, a good 30 years ago, there were a group of archaeologists who somehow, I can't remember exactly how now why, stumbled upon a secret that mankind has been kept under control by something called the Tsothagians, so that's what they're called in the book, a sort of mind parasite which gives impulses which keep the consciousness of humanity at a low level. The point being is that as the consciousness rises, in order to maintain their position, the Tsothagians have to come closer and closer to the surface so that their manipulations become effective. But as they move closer to the surface, they become visible. And this is what was happening in the book. Mankind was beginning to awaken, and more people were becoming aware of the Tsothagians. And so the Thagians then had to start doing things to divert people. And the way they did this was to create horror scenarios to reduce the level of consciousness. And we had exactly such a scenario on Friday the 13th in Paris, Friday the 13th of November 2015, just to get it in the right date. A senseless horror story which reduces the consciousness level of anyone who looks at it emotionally. Anyone who looks at it logically, reasonably, sees something quite different. The first thing you have to note, of course, is that the ISIS, or Islamic State, is a CIA operation. Now, if you train fanatics, they will do fanatical things. However, do they do something as stupid as attacking a major European power with the great danger from their point of view that then the Europeans join together to mount a concerted military action against Islamic State? Well, this the action of fanatics, or is this a CIA plan to forge a military consortium to take over the Middle East? Could this be what's going on? Something to think about. Just look at the two different aspects. The horror aspect, which is designed to reduce consciousness, and who's doing what to whom and why. Who's behind it and what do they want? Okay, anyway, back to our theme here. There is a energy by almost everyone implanted in their deep consciousness, which will always divert them away from what they want to do, what they really want to do, because that would awaken not only themselves, but also other people. And as humanity awakens, then the mind parasites, as Colin Wilson called them, become visible, and mankind starts to eliminate them. Now, how they are to be eliminated, well, in Colin's book, people would train themselves with something called phenomenology, developed by Edmund Husserl. Maybe it works, I don't know. I tried reading the introductory book, which is heavy weather, and then my uncle borrowed it, and I've never seen it since. However, there are other ways that over the last few years, a lot of people have made tremendous advances in removing ancestral perturbances. And if we view this as an ancestral perturbance, we don't know how old it is, but it doesn't really matter, because it affects, so far as I know, everyone. It is a common ancestor or a common ancestral perturbance, and so it can be removed from everyone simultaneously. So this is exactly what we're going to do. So this is the introduction. There are 3 transmissions. The first 2 are for you. A build-up transmission and a more intense transmission. The third transmission is for you to relay to everyone around you. What we're aiming for is to remove this ancestral perturbance from everyone on the planet, so that everyone becomes conscious. And this sort of fanatical action that they did in Paris yesterday becomes impossible. This is how we defeat those who wish to enslave humanity. We remove the tools which enable them to do it. And one of these tools is this tendency by everyone to divert themselves, or to be diverted, instead of doing what they want to do. Okay, first transmission is the next video in this list. Thank you.